shared in college, studied HR, realized I wasn't in love with HR. I wanted to do something else. Really actually wanted to be a fashion designer. And then I realized that, you know what, like I wanted to be open-minded, see what's out there. So later on, I actually came across Bitcoin and cryptocurrency through my parents, actually. And so they are entrepreneurs, always talking about like Bitcoin, digital currency. And back in 2017, no one was really talking about it much. So I kind of thought they were crazy. And I'm just like, you know what, let me just try it. So I invested about $300. A few months later, it went to almost $900, and I fell in love with the space. And I think that happens with a lot of us, where you kind of just get involved, you hear about crypto, and you can't go back, right? Does anybody agree? Yes? Yeah, a few? Okay. But yes, later on in my journey, I really love helping people. And so I decided to use my love or my passion for helping people and use it and combine it with crypto. So now crypto education is really all that I do with, of course, the Crypto Strategy Academy and co-founder of Crypto Babes, which has been absolutely amazing. Okay. But nonetheless, I want to get into some of the information because we do have a lot. It's going to be really interactive. And once again, I want to keep things super basic because when it comes to DeFi or even cryptocurrency in general, it can be a lot, right? But I love to keep it basic because especially if you're new, like I said, I want to make sure you guys understand how it works. So just a quick recap. We had, of course, the amazing panel talking about DeFi, but understanding and really breaking it down to the basics of what DeFi really means, right? So understand that DeFi is really just made up of two words, D standing for decentralization and Fi is in finance, right? So finance, of course, describing debt, credit, investments, income. And then DeFi, as you mentioned, is really that freedom aspect of not having a middleman when it comes to some of these financial services, right? So when we think about some of the different applications or thinking about some of the different ways you can interact or get into DeFi, we think about DeFi wallets. Does anybody have a DeFi wallet? Okay, a few. Okay, so after this, you guys are definitely gonna have one. Of course, we talk about DEXs, which is our decentralized exchanges, right? And so exchanges, thinking about those places, websites you can actually buy and sell crypto, but now in the decentralized space. And then the other thing people don't talk about is getting into DeFi, and which is by purchasing DeFi related cryptocurrencies. I think people, especially when we think about NFTs, right? A lot of times people say if you want an NFT, you have to buy the actual digital asset. But realistically, I always tell my students that one of the best ways, especially if you're new, just buy a coin that's related to that space. Does that make sense? Yes? Perfect. So yes, getting into DeFi just by purchasing or investing into a cryptocurrency that's in the DeFi space is very powerful. Of course, DeFi staking, being able to earn interest on your crypto, liquidity providing, and of course, crypto loans, which some of the amazing ladies talked about today. Okay, so we're gonna actually do a deep dive into liquidity providing. Has anybody gotten involved with that before? A little bit. Okay, is anybody excited to learn about liquidity providing? Okay, I love it. I love it. Awesome. So we're gonna dive in and understand like what is it, how do you get involved, and everything is all in steps. Okay, guys. I like to be very organized, keep it simple. So if you are taking notes, yes, everything is gonna be there for you. Okay. So what is liquidity providing, right? Understand that you are able to actually lend out your crypto, right? And in return, be able to earn, right? Just by doing that and all really just earning based off of all the fees that people are doing based on the transactions on the platform, right? Now, keep in mind, it's not like you're giving just one specific cryptocurrency, but they work in pairs. So it's having two equal amounts of two cryptocurrencies, right? That you're able to actually put into what we call these liquidity pools. Okay. Now I'm going to break it down for you guys. And first step is creating a DeFi wallet. Okay. So what you'll start to realize as you're getting into DeFi and some of these different platforms is it's very different. You have to have a certain type of wallet to get into the decentralized space. Okay. So for those that maybe have, or using like Coinbase, Binance, some of these different platforms, yes, you're storing your crypto on those platforms. But as we kind of talked about earlier, that's centralized, right? A lot of you maybe have to give your ID, go through that whole process. But now going to the other side where you are essentially, being your own bank, you require different wallets. So these are some of the top wallets, right? That a lot of the different decentralized platforms require you to use. I just picked some of the top three. Of course, we have MetaMask, which is literally like, works on your Google Chrome extension, actually. We have Coinbase Wallet, which is different from Coinbase, like the actual platform, so keep that in mind, or Wallet Connect. Now, I will say, they all have their own pros and cons, but you're able to go actually download this onto your computer. Some people do it on their phone, which I don't usually recommend. But yes, now you can go ahead and download this. Now, the other thing to keep in mind, please, is as you're getting into this space, always double check or triple check what you're downloading and what you're clicking on. Okay, because what people talk about all the good and all the money they're making in crypto, but they don't talk about the bad. Right? So you have to be careful. There are so many scams out there, guys. So when you're going through this, you're looking at the websites, you're ready to download the wallets, or you're looking to actually click and connect your wallet, please, if you're writing notes, put like a big star, highlight it. You have to double check, because as soon as you connect your wallet to some of these platforms, they can easily access your funds, right? So you want to be super careful, okay? But nonetheless, first step is to create a DeFi wallet, right? Picking one that you want to use. And then once you do that, step 2 is being able to actually load it, right? Putting funds onto that wallet, right? So that way you can actually start to do transactions and so forth. So the other things to keep with this, and some of the amazing ladies touched on it, is that with these wallets, there's a lot of different blockchains, right? And so when we think about blockchains, I'll even say the word network. There's different networks that these cryptocurrencies can exist on. So one of the most popular, of course, when it comes to DeFi is Ethereum, right? So as you're going through it, this is kind of what the MetaMask wallet looks like. Literally just lives on your browser, right? While you're on the internet. And you're able to, of course, go between, let's say, the Ethereum network to, other networks or other networks as well. And you want to make sure when you're sending cryptocurrency and loading your account that you are being very cautious, okay? So quick tip for those that are actually going to be loading your account, and this is if you're sending cryptocurrency, you always want to double check the first few letters and numbers at the beginning of the address and at the end. Okay, because with crypto, if you send cryptocurrency, if I want to send crypto to someone in the room, and let's say, I copy and paste, their long wallet address and a letter is missing or a number is missing, those funds are gone, right? All the transactions with crypto is permanent, right? So you want to be really, really careful, because you can't get that money back, guys, unfortunately, okay? So you want to make sure you're paying attention to which network it's on. So for Ethereum, another quick tip, right, to understand or see if that cryptocurrency is on Ethereum's network, you'll see it always starts with a 0x, right? So you can use that as you're about to send cryptocurrency or looking for those wallets. You can keep that in mind as well, okay? Now, after you've actually, loaded some funds on there, maybe you purchase, Ethereum from Binance, Coinbase, whatever, and you send it over to your MetaMask as an example, right? As you're going through this, you also want to make sure that in the future, as you're navigating this, you understand that, yes, you can actually toggle between the different networks, right? And if you're sending, let's say, Binance coin, and you want that to go on, let's say, your MetaMask, you actually have to switch to their network, right? So MetaMask can actually hold different types of cryptocurrencies, but you have to make sure it's on the right network. Does that make sense? Yes or yes? Yes? Okay, perfect. Awesome. Now, step 3 is selecting your DEX, right? And when I say DEX, it stands for Decentralized Exchange. So you'll notice that we talked about it earlier, right? Centralized exchanges, decentralized exchanges means the different websites that allow you to, quote unquote, be your own bank, or don't have to give up all of your information to interact with them. So these are some of the 3 that I, took a look at or decided to choose, right, for today, and they all are very similar. Has anybody heard of Uniswap before, or any type of swap, sushi swap, a lot of the swaps? A few? Okay, perfect. So here's an example of just 3 and some of the popular ones actually. And these, once again, you're able to go onto these platforms and switch from one cryptocurrency to another cryptocurrency. Now, another quick tip too is as to why maybe you would want to go on a decentralized exchange, like use a DEX. Especially for myself, I love getting into cryptocurrencies when they're like brand new, even before they launch sometimes. And a lot of times to get that type of access, you have to use some of these platforms. They're not available on Coinbase, Binance, crypto.com yet, right? So for those that like to take a little bit of risk and like to get in early, that's another really great way, another really great reason to actually get involved with one of these platforms, right? But nonetheless, these are the platforms you're able to use. You have Uniswap that's more focused on Ethereum's network, okay? And anytime you're doing anything in DeFi, always understand that a lot of the platforms use Ethereum's network, which also means that tends to be a lot of fees, right? Because of course that's a little bit of how Ethereum works in their network, right? So you actually need to have Ethereum in your wallet and actually own it in order to do transactions. In order to go from one cryptocurrency to the other, you're paying for the fees and the transactions using Ethereum. Okay, so it can be a little bit costly. I don't usually recommend, especially if you're brand new, I usually don't recommend you diving into the decentralized exchanges unless you know what you're doing, because it can be pretty tricky. Okay, then we have something like QuickSwap as well. That is another great platform, but the fees are a lot lower. And then SushiSwap is also really great as well, because you can literally use like over 13 different networks, right? Depending on which cryptocurrencies you want to use. Does that make sense so far? Yes? Yes? Perfect. Perfect. Now, I'm going to give you guys a quick example of what the websites actually look like and how to actually do a transaction on the platform. Okay, so in this example, we're actually going to be using QuickSwap. Okay, and as I mentioned, you would have already created a wallet, which we talked about, something like MetaMask as an example. Okay, and now you've already selected the decentralized exchange you're going to use, which in this case is QuickSwap. Okay, and the first thing you're going to do when you get there, does anybody want to guess what the first step is? As soon as you go to the website, sorry? Triple check. Yes, I love it. Yes, triple check to make sure it's the right website before you connect your wallet, guys. And literally, you can see like there's a little blue line going across, and they literally tell you to always check, and they give you and actually tell you what the correct website is supposed to look like, right? So in this case, it should say quickswap.exchange. Right now, like I said, scammers are very tricky. They might just put an underscore, a dash, put an S, put an extra E, whatever they have to do. Right, so you want to be really, really careful. Okay, but yes, after you triple check, then yes, and you know it's good, then you can actually connect your wallet. Right, so usually it'll say connect your wallet, or in this case, switch to Matic. Right, because that is the network that you can use for this platform. So what happens is anytime you are interacting with any of these platforms, if maybe one network uses Ethereum, maybe one network uses Polygon on that network, right? You can actually switch between, like we talked about, toggling between different networks. And so even if you didn't automatically do that, a pop-up's going to come up and it's actually going to ask you, hey, do you want to switch networks? And so this is something you're going to see regularly as you're going through this, right? And same thing for those that are interested in like NFTs, right? NFTs, once again, are on different networks. Sometimes you'll connect and it might ask you to switch, right? So keep that in mind. And you'll also see this pop up a lot because first you have to actually approve the switch of the networks. And then you also have to approve the transaction that, yes, I want to buy this coin or whatever the case is, right? So whenever you see this is a good sign. It's also going to have a pop-up. Usually if you're not actually logged in, then you can do that as well. But once again, you want to make sure you're looking over this information. Okay. Now, once of course you've gone there, you've connected your wallet, you've already loaded it like we talked about, and you're ready to actually get involved with one of these liquidity pools, right? The next piece is, of course, like I mentioned, with liquidity pools, you need to have at least 2 cryptocurrencies, right, of equal value. Because to enter these pools where you're able to actually earn passive income, it's not just one coin, it's actually 2, right? So this is where you also want to think about, okay, which coins do I actually want to purchase, right, and actually use for these liquidity pools, right? And sometimes they may even ask you to have a cryptocurrency that what we call is wrapped, right? That is actually suitable for that network, right? And sometimes if you don't have that specific wrapped token, you can once again swap it and actually get that coin on that swap, right? Which is really great. So what you can also do, a lot of platforms, just like QuickSwap, they give you a full list of all the different top pairs that are out there. So if you're not sure which 2 coins you want to use, simply go here, take a look, start researching. Okay, what are the top ones? Which ones are growing? What is like the APY, like how much interest or what are the gains and the profits like from some of these pools, right? And which ones are not doing so well, right? So as we can see in this one, number 1 is the Raptomatic against Sand, right? So those are the 2 tokens that are, of course, is doing the best so far, one of the top ones. Now, another thing you want to look at in terms of understanding which one's going to give you the most profit, right? Potentially. I don't want to make any claims, but it's also making sure that it's a pool that has a lot of volume. Okay. The reason I say that is because you are making money on the transaction fees of everyone that's buying and selling on the platform. So if you are in a pool, you have two coins that people are swapping between often, then you're making a lot more. Does that make sense? Yes or yes? Let's try it again. Yes or yes? Yes. Okay. I love it. Right. So that's why you can see some of them are doing better than others. Right. Then the other thing you want to think about too is the volatility. Right. If you have two coins, maybe one is a little bit more volatile than the other, that also impacts how much you will make. So usually you want to stick to coins that are not as volatile. So as you're going through this list, you may want to start doing your own research, right? And actually seeing, what does it look like and how are those coins moving, right? Before you actually buy them, load your wallet, and actually start getting involved, okay? Now, once you've done that, you know exactly which coins that you want. What you'll notice on the website, you'll actually see it'll say pool, right? Because it's a liquidity pool, you're able to go to that tab. Now, once you do, it's going to say, of course, look like this. It's going to say add liquidity. And you're actually going to be able to select the two tokens you want to use to get involved in this liquidity pool so you can start earning. Okay. Now, with this, of course, you want to make sure you loaded your wallet with both of those coins, right? And of course, you're also going to have that pop up, right, of you being able to approve your transaction. So as soon as you selected the two coins, you already have them in your wallet, you're able to actually click on, enter the pool, right? And then of course you're gonna have a pop-up to approve it, and then you are good. Does that make sense so far, guys? Yeah, perfect. Try to keep it as simple as possible. But essentially that is the steps in terms of being able to actually get involved with these liquidity pools. Like I said, it's a lot of information. I don't usually recommend it if you're brand new, because there's so many other ways to actually make money with crypto. But if you are really interested, this is some of the foundation work that you can actually use to get involved. Okay. Now, step 5, once you are in the DeFi space, you're earning, you're in liquidity pools, you can track your gains, right? So I'm really excited to be highlighting APY Vision because their platform is built for you to actually see and track all the different, liquidity pools that you're in, right? Maybe you are earning with QuickSwap. Maybe you're also earning with Uniswap, right? And you don't want to have to go on every single platform to try to see what you're earning. But imagine you can go to one place, one hub, and it has all the information about all the different pools that you're involved with, right? So now you can actually go on there. It's filled with analytics, tools, shows you the full balance, right? The fees, and it's so detailed, guys, right? Which is amazing because now you can actually see what are my profits for this pool, or am I, losing money, right? And you can look at it from a day-to-day basis, which is really cool. Or at the same time, if you're not sure which pool to get into, they can help you find liquidity pool opportunities as well, guys, because they actually have all the analytics on there, which is amazing. Okay. Now, I know that was a lot. And so we covered, how to, of course, make sure you have the DeFi wallet, loading your wallet, and then also talking about being able to actually identify which coins you want to use to actually get into these liquidity pools, right? So we covered a lot of information step by step. And one of the other things too, thinking about, of course, how do you start learning and actually diving into some of these other pieces that I talked about earlier? Because this is just one piece of getting into DeFi. But we didn't even touch on, DeFi staking, where people are actually making a good amount of money there, right? Or some of the different coins in the DeFi space you guys could just be investing in passively, or crypto loans as well. So there's a lot of information, guys, still when it comes to DeFi. And I'm so excited because I also have the Crypto Strategy Academy, right? A program that I've created that teaches everything step by step, but making sure that it's simple, right? So everything from the 3 income streams of learning how to invest, how to trade, how to earn cryptocurrency, but literally breaking it down into about 7 weeks, right? Where every week is a different topic, breaking it down for you, and exploring some of the other income streams with crypto, right? That you can still earn regardless of what the market is doing, which is really great. So I'm happy to say that we've been able to do quite a bit within the platform and help a lot of people, especially women. I'm really excited about that. I think our last 3 cohorts, actually, we've had 80% has been women. So I'm really, really pumped about that as well. And at the end of the day, like we need more women in general, right? In this space, because no offense to the guys, you guys are amazing, but women do it better. So, we definitely need more women. So I'm really excited for all of you guys, right? Just wanted to give you guys a bit of an introduction into the DeFi space, specifically when it comes to liquidity pools. But nonetheless, guys, once again, stand up for me, please, as we end off with some, of course, amazing affirmation. As I mentioned before, I'm strong, I'm beautiful, and I'm a queen. Guys, you can definitely see it because you guys are awesome too. But this time I want you guys to give me some energy, okay? So I'm strong, I'm beautiful, I'm a queen. So let's start off. I'm strong, I'm beautiful, I'm a queen. One more time. I'm strong, I'm beautiful, and I'm a queen. Awesome. Thank you, guys.
Oh, is this thing on? That was such a good talk. Thank you so much. I have two questions. Do you need to have a minimum amount of money to get into liquidity pools? And then my second question is, what's the difference between wrapped ETH and regular ETH?
Okay. I heard your first question. Can you repeat the second question for me, please?
Yeah. The second question was, what's the difference between wrapped ETH and regular ETH?
Yes, really great question. So to your first question, in terms of minimums, a lot of the pools do have minimums as well. So it kind of just depends. Usually when you're looking at the pool itself, you're able to actually see all the details. Like what is the minimum specifically required for both tokens? And like I mentioned, it does have to be usually of equal value. So whichever coin, whatever they're priced at least if you have $100 of each, as an example, $100 of each of them, or as long as they're the equal value, that's definitely one of the main requirements. And then for the second piece, the wrapped portion, regardless of what token it is really going back to ensuring that that token is suitable for that blockchain, right? So understanding that Ethereum has its own network, like I said, Binance has its own network, right? And they cannot necessarily just use the regular token on just any network, right? Because think of it as two different systems, right? And so for you to be able to use one coin on a different system, you would have to go through a process which we consider wrapped, right? So it's like a different version of the token so that you can use it on any platform, if that makes sense. No problem.
Thank you so much, Ashley, and that was a great presentation. My question is in two forms. You talked about, swaps and the exchange, and I think my first question is, just like the classic stock exchange where you're able to hedge your risk, for example, maybe sell short, buy long, does the DeFi system and like exchanging and swap within these platforms work in that same way? And the second part of my question is, you kept like elaborating on triple checking, there are scams that, so I guess my question is, what are some of the initiatives that are undergoing to make sure that the platform is secure and safe? Because I feel like that also builds credibility when it comes to like trading and what have you. So if you could share.
Yeah, really great question. So for your first point in terms of being able to actually take positions very long or short, ideally I would recommend that that's best suitable for like trading, right? Which I always recommend trading, guys, because it is a really great way, especially in a market that's moving downwards. You can still make money regardless, as you mentioned, right? You can still short the market, still long, right? So that would be something the trading piece you'd probably want to look at. And at the same time, think of it like this, where a lot of times when it comes to crypto, most people are just investing, but it's like there's so many ways and it's all about creating multiple streams of income. So when the market does go down like this, you're still making money, right? So yes, when it comes to that piece, the trading would be key. And then to the second piece as well, in terms of security, yes, there's a lot of scams out there, and unfortunately, like it's still a space that's still evolving, right? In terms of security and having the right quote unquote regulations or the right practices in play. And so that's why it's like education is so key. So you can actually see the difference between what the scams look like versus what the actual authentic websites look like, right? And there's so many different kinds and different things out there. But yes, just having you could have like a checklist or different things that you want to look for prior to getting involved with some of these platforms. And that can range from anything. Like I think I don't know about you guys, but like nowadays they have group chats that are lots of scams, whether it's on Telegram, Instagram. Like there's a lot of, they're really aggressive right now. So you want to, like, anything that sounds too good to be true, definitely probably is, right? And then as you're navigating these platforms, just be cautious, right? Don't rush in terms of these transactions. Really take the time to look at everything before just diving into it. But yeah, really great question.
That's all the time we have.
Yeah,
Thank you
okay.
so much.
Perfect. Thank you, everybody.